Hey guys, Thomas the Surgeon here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie Transference, Escape the Dark. If you end up enjoying this review, then consider joining my Patreon page. Any donations are desperately needed. Alrighty. Now, falling behind on movie reviews, I've seen a lot of movies pop up actually relatively. I'm going to try my best to post some reviews today and kind of catch up on movies and that kind of sucks because I also have a lot of video games I'm still currently playing, and there's a lot more coming out. There is a lot of stuff coming out. Uh, so I might be a small YouTuber, but boy oh boy, I would dare argue I'm probably one of the busiest YouTubers now. I would dare say objectively. Anyway, jokes aside, let's talk about recapping this movie. So, we cut to some narration with our lead, Dr. Grant. Uh, and he's carrying his wife. Uh, and we see the two of them sort of talking, or like arguing, or something, or rather. And we see little cuts and bits and pieces about twins, so they are twins. And we see them, the lead character talking to the priest confessional, even though apparently there's no one on the other side. Um, and as he leaves, we see a biker threaten the actual priest about God or something or other. So the biker guy stabs the priest, and we cut to back to our lead, who is named Josh, and his sister, twin sister Emma, and she is freaking out. So his doctor friend, which they are within this secret facility, is giving her some drugs to try and calm her down. So Josh puts her to bed and starts blaming his doctor friend, uh, trying to just, keep her out of sight. And we don't know why quite yet. So he walks out, and we can see throughout the movie that this biker guy, is an ever presence of someone who is watching. And also throughout the movie, we see a few flashbacks as him as a kid. And it talks about, in this flashback, about angels and demons. And how he thought his sister was possessed by a demon. So he continues and he narrates about having some anger issues. And has a nightmare about kid Emma after the fact. So Josh pays the doc to keep this little thing on the down low, and he seems to visit this woman, his potential girlfriend, question mark. But Josh interferes, as he's talking to, someone else. So he goes off on his own, and several flashes occur of different varying subjects. It cuts back to him, waking up. So it caused him to pass out. And through this, the doc wants Josh to get some real help. He says, find a real doctor, or go to a hospital. And he will give him 1 week, because that is how much time he suggests that Emma has left to stay stable / alive. So Josh joins Emma, who's talking about his past, and he mentions this parachute incident. All the meanwhile, we cut to him joining a fight club, and he gets into fights to earn that money. All the while, as he's getting beaten down, we see Emma or Emma, talk to him through this sort of power transition thing. So he's like fighting the biker guy as he had been watching, uh, and the biker guy again stopping in front of Josh, bringing up the sister, and he's fighting him now. The biker guy uses a superpower push to push Josh into a knockout. And we see through his little knockout memory that Josh sees a young Emma in a casket. And after the fact, he returns to the dock after getting beat down. And he takes this call or offer for the help that Josh's doctor was suggesting earlier. This doctor, by the way, his name is Doug. I believe that's the name I heard anyway. And a new doctor comes in, and he says that he can help to not, instead of removing this power, but to help her control it. So Josh goes to his girlfriend, and meanwhile we cut to the night of him leaving her, and she follows him out. All the while, the new Doc and Emma are having a little moment of him trying to understand. And he talks about this boy who had these powers and how he supposedly helped this boy get powers. So he brings out this little ball and he gives it to her to say oh, you should try to lift it with your mental powers. And he claims that he does not know what happened to the boy. But we cut back to the girlfriend, quote unquote, having someone talking to her about Josh and his past. All the while, this guy who has been talking to her mentions how he owes rent, and that he's mentioning how the sister has been what he's doing with the sister's unknown. So he mentions how he knew the grandfather of Josh and how they used to be very in a religious state of affairs. So all the while, Josh comes up to her after she walks away. All the while, the doc is talking to her Emma about her power potential. And he talks about a flashback that we saw earlier in the movie through Josh's perspective about how apparently in the hospital 150 different people tried to kill themselves. And this is apparently all connected to Emma, and this new doctor guy suggests that it could have potentially have been her that set this off, as he recalled a certain woman leaving the hospital at that point in time. So this new doctor guy tries to freak her out and smacks her up and asks for forgiveness after the fact. So Josh hears some more voices, and he sees himself tied to this chair and sees Emma. And he goes back to the hospital, and he's having all these mental heart hitting moments. So Doc, seeing how he had affected Emma, takes the new Doc to the bridge, says to never come back, threatens him, and then just leaves. Cut to the girlfriend, quote unquote, looking for Emma, or looking for whatever, and eventually coming across that. The doctor makes some sort of call. I'm not sure what that led to, but I think he called the police at that point in time. Meanwhile, Josh is back at the fight club. Emma finally lifts the ball on her own while he's in his little fight. We have the girlfriend, quote unquote the girlfriend, going in through the forest and finding that door, and then she kind of makes her way inside and finds Emma herself. Um, and then the biker enters the fight to stop Josh. So the girlfriend gets locked in, quote unquote, the girlfriend. The friend doctor makes. Oh, sorry, I rewrote that in my notes for some reason. The friend doctor gets choked up um, by Emma, who's losing her shit. So the biker ends up being the new doctor. Twist, I guess. And Emma, in all the meanwhile, is busting out. So we're cutting back and forth between the twins. And we see a flashback of him and a young Emma, and how their father died as they are arguing over while Josh was holding a bunny out the window and she was crying, and then they are arguing about it, and then and then the father getting injured. So yes, indeed, the police were called, as I mentioned, and Josh stops or attempts to stop his girlfriend. So the friend, as he comes back to, tells Josh that to never come back to this spot, because he's felt like he's been, hurt in the process, so he doesn't want anything more to do with this. So while they're all in the forest, all the main characters, the cops are moving in, and the girlfriend's calling out to Josh, and Josh is moving in on Emma, and the other doc moves in as well. And Emma lifts up the girlfriend, and Josh gets in on it, or gets into the area and gets into this fake room because she's using her mental powers at this point. So the girlfriend drops, and she's going through her own thing, and then Emma talks down at him at his chair, and she's blaming him for all of this, and he confesses that he was the one responsible. So the cops move in, and the brother is shot. Oh, at least not in death, but shot at. Actually, he is shot, which causes Emma to rage out and blast out this energy field, and of course the bullet didn't have any impact because he has powers as well. So the new doc moves and drags himself over along, and he is the one that had the powers all along, a double twist or whatever. But as he's revealing that, Emma makes him aim his gun at himself and shoot. And we cut away to Josh burning the previous location and promises things will be different to Emma as they burn his past self. That part's a bit odd because I don't know. Anyways, we end the movie with a cut back to the power doc with the gun aimed to himself. We see a physical, like a little energy thing around the bullet, and it's in the stop time as the cops are like, "Hey, put your gun down." He's like, "I can't." And that was Transference. Escape the Dark. I thought that this movie had an okay premise, with the two having powers and how their powers were connected, and how this was about keeping someone safe versus keeping them prisoner from life. That's an interesting aspect, I suppose. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen any movies, at least recently. None are jumping out to me, so this does feel, in terms of that, it does feel a little refreshing of like that sort of interesting, like being safe versus again being a prisoner, and you know what is the the cutoff point? Where is the point where you go, okay, this is getting ridiculous, stuff like that. Um, and you have your religious overtones throughout the movie, obviously, and them having powers, which is what leads to this sort of question in the first place of safety versus prisoner, uh, and it does feel like, at least toward the end, it sort of takes her side, Emma's side. Um, I don't know how I feel about that ending. I feel like there is room for it to be left ambiguous, or left more ambiguous, of like, it kind of hits back and forth with both ideas clashing still at the end. I feel like that's a more effective ending so that people can talk about it. People can, argue about, you know, where is that line? Where is it going too far to protect someone? Leaving them in a room locked up. Uh, you know, that's the actual scenario. So, you know, if that feels like prisoner, then it's that. But again, it's to protect the outside world from seeing that they have powers. So I think that there's room to leave it open, a bit more open, as even the ending after the fact with the guy still being alive, it seems like they're suggesting like there could be something more. So I actually found the movie to be not too bad. There are a few flashes, and the flashbacks are a little bit off at time to time, just like how some of them are a little bit jumbled. But other than that, I think everything else is pretty solid, I want to say. I think that there could have been a few more interactions between Josh and his girlfriend, but I kind of get why they kind of leave it a little bit more um, loose, I guess. But yeah, I think I would actually give this movie a 6 out of 10, and just, again, tightening up the flashbacks, making sure it's not like a seizure or anything. It's probably something you want to try to avoid. And I get what they're trying to go for, but I think there are more effective ways of doing that without it being, like, visually just hard to figure out what's kind of going on. Um, and again, I think the argument, as I mentioned before, I think leaving the argument as a clash rather than ambiguous, leaving it as a clash instead of sort of answering the question. I feel like, again, since the movie doesn't seem to end with that ending, I think leaving it open would have been a more effective ending. And I don't quite understand what the whole having Josh burn his past fake self was supposed to be for. So a little bit of uh, interpretation issues, I suppose. Like, I'm not sure what that was supposed to be for. Again, just a few issues here and there. So again, a 6 out of 10, but overall I would say not bad. So yeah, check it out. You know, if when it comes out on DVD, stay home, all that good stuff. Um, so yeah, if you ended up enjoying this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. The first will head you over to my Discord server. The second will head you over to my Patreon page. Any donations are desperately needed, and until next time, everyone, bye-bye!